like I've done acting and stuff like that. Some of the people, granted, are like jerks and stuff. I was in a pilot for a TV show.
Oh.
And the main actress, she was real cool. She was real nice. But the guy who was like the co-star, apparently he was like in The Sixth Sense or something like that. I don't know the dude's name, or else I'd say it because I don't care that dude.
Did he have a big part?
No, he had like one line. So
he's custodian #1.
Yeah, I was like, well, he was like little boy in class wearing a red shirt, had curly hair. Like, I don't know, he was like just random. So I didn't know. And I made the mistake of asking him on set, like, hey man, have you ever been in anything else? And apparently you're not supposed to ask people that who think they're somebody, because then they get all like hurt. And some of the extras were like, hey, Sonny dude, he was in Sixth Sense. I was like, oh, is that Haley Joel Osment? I had no clue he'd look like that. And they're like, no, he was the little boy in the classroom that said this. And I'm like, yeah, I never watched Sixth Sense that many times, man. I don't know that. But like the dude hated me like while we were on set because I asked him that question. Yeah, but the main actress, Molly Parker, she was nice. She was a real nice person. And I was just like, wow, you have to make out with that dude on camera. So hey, it is what it is. But, yeah.
What do you do for like acting? Like, what kind of gigs do you pick up?
Ooh, I haven't done acting in quite some time.
Like theater stuff?
No, it's usually like film type stuff. Or like TV show stuff. Like I've been on a few TV shows.
Which ones?
I was in a show called Chase, Friday Night Lights, and a show called American Crime.
Wow.
Just had little bit roles for that.
What networks?
So Friday Night Lights was on, I want to say NBC. The season I was in, though, they had got picked up by DirecTV, so you had to have DirecTV to see it. And then like American Crime was on ABC, and Chase, I believe, was on NBC as well.
Damn.
And it's funny because like on Chase, I pretend like we weren't talking earlier. On Chase, when I went to the audition, I did the audition, and the director told me, he was like, hey man, drop your accent. And I was like, dude, I don't even know what you're talking about, man. I ain't have no accent. And the casting director just looked at me like, and so I was like, okay. So I was like, and it's kind of messed up. I did my white people voice, like when I'm ordering pizza and stuff. So
I gotta hear it.
So I was like, so instead of me being like, oh man, yeah, whatever, I was like, oh no, dude, no, that wasn't. Oh no, that wasn't me. That was my friends. They wanted to rob you, guy, and so like I did that, and like I didn't get in the role. I'm like, that's stupid, but so I did that, and then when I did the actual shoot, I kind of forgot to do that, so I was just talking like regular. But the show got canceled, and one thing that a lot of the critics complained about was that the main actors had horrible Southern accents. And I'm like, y'all made all of us Texans drop our accents, and then it gets canceled because of horrible Southern accents.
Oh my god.
Go figure that
How
one.
many episodes aired?
I believe 10 of the original 13 aired. I was in the I think it was the third episode I was in, or fourth episode I was in. I got to work with Robert Nepper, who was from Prison Break fame.
Ooh.
He was T-Bag, the guy that had the arm cut off, for anybody that saw that show. But he was real nice. He was real cool. He liked to screw with me while we were filming. Whenever the camera was not on him, it was on me. He'd be making kissing noises and stuff like that. And he took his shoe off under the table because we're sitting across the table in the scene. He took his shoe off and was like rubbing my leg with his foot, like,
why?
Just to screw with me. And I was like, oh crap, like what is he doing? And after we shot or whatever, it started raining, and it was an outdoor shoot. Apparently, if you're an actor, you can't get wet. It's weird. It's a weird rule of Hollywood. So they like rushed us all into some building. They told the people, hey, look, we're doing this shoot. We just need to put these people in here. And I was like, these people, whoa, like, we are actors. No, but man, I don't know. Exactly. So like, I'm a thespian. So they put us into this like little shack type thing, and we're sitting there and just quiet while all the rain is going on. And now, as I said earlier, I don't know if it's gonna make podcast. So you're not supposed to ask actors who are somebody if they've done anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like dead silent. And I told that dude Robert, I told him, I was like, man, I'm gonna get you back for that, messing with me. And so it's dead silent. People were like, had got done getting his autograph, taking pictures with him. He was in the show Carnival on HBO as well. He's like a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
So he's done a lot. And so we're sitting next to each other. He's sitting in his chair that says Robert Nepper. My chair says Actor 1. I was like, can you get my name? All right, that's cool. And so like we're sitting next to each other, and he's texting on his phone. And I leaned over to him and said, hey man, so have you ever done any other acting? And he was like he didn't know how to respond. And I was like, just looking at him, waiting for an answer. And then I was like, nah, man, I know what you're saying. He's like, oh. He was like, oh. He goes, oh. He was like, oh. And he did get back at me, though. Because in the scene, I'm supposed to eat a sandwich. Well, I'm supposed to act like I'm about to bite a sandwich. Mm-hmm. Now, I hate condiments. Mm-hmm. Every time a condiment, I don't like ketchup. I don't like mustard, mayonnaise.
Salsa?
No, I don't like any of that stuff. So, for the scene, I'm supposed to be eating a barbecue sandwich. Uh-huh. Now, scene calls for me to put some ketchup in there.
Ketchup?
Yeah. And just close it. And then as I'm about to take a bite, he's supposed to shoot me. And the camera's panning off, and then you hear gunfire. I'm dead. So I was like, all right, cool. So I pour my ketchup. I'm about to bite my sandwich. I'm like, all right, cool cut. Like, all right, cool cut. I gotta bite this nasty ketchup. And so he tells the director, he goes, hey, don't you think that the entire scene, Sonny should be putting stuff in his sandwich? And I was like, that's stupid. You shouldn't do that. And so the director's like, yeah, it'll give him something to do the entire time. So I'm like, all right, cool. So they give me more stuff. They give me ketchup, like mayonnaise, horseradish sauce, and barbecue sauce.
On one sandwich?
Yeah, on one sandwich. And I have 3 because that's what I ordered. But so they had all these sandwiches there. And so we do our lines, and we're like, all right, cool. And I go to bite the sandwich because in the scene he tells me to eat my sandwich as he's about to shoot me. And so I'm like, and they're like, cut. And I'm like, all right, cool. And he tells me, he goes, dude, you can just bite the sandwich. I was like, well, I was like, let me pull out the script right here. Says I don't eat the sandwich. As I eat the sandwich, you shoot me. That's what it says. And so he goes, just eat the sandwich. And I was like, but the script right here says don't eat the sandwich. And he goes, Sonny, man, why won't you eat the sandwich? And I go, dude, I hate all the stuff that I just put in this sandwich. He goes, oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that. And I was like, man, it's cool. That's cool. Mm-hmm. He goes, well, I'll let the director know so we can maybe cut before then. I was like, oh, that's a good guy right there. Mm-hmm. He goes to the director, talks to him, comes back, and he gives me his little, sits down. And I was like, what? He goes, I told him I'm waiting for you to bite the sandwich. I was like, so.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, I ate that sandwich like 12 times.
You
I had
swallowed?
to bite. No.
Oh, okay.
As soon as I bit, I was like, for the camera. And then as soon as the camera was done, I ran behind the little food trailer where I ordered the sandwich from, and I spit it out. And by the end of the shot, there was like all these little bit pieces of sandwich back there. And I was like, I don't even care, man. I'm not eating that stuff. But yeah, I was like, that guy, I thought he was nice. He turned out to be a jerk. But no.
Oh, that's hilarious. Damn.
Yeah.
So which one did you start first, acting or comedy?
So I actually started acting first.
Oh.
There was one day that my mom read in the paper that they were looking for extras for an Untitled Mike Judge project. Mm-hmm. And my mom was like, hey, fool, you ain't got nothing to do Saturday. You should go. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll go.
Had you expressed that you wanted to be in
Never.
Stuff? So your mom was just like,
she's just like, hey,
you're so fucking dramatic. Like, why don't you put that into?
Yeah, she was like, look, fool, stop being a loser. Go do something on Saturday. So I went out there. I took my headshot with the little digital camera that I had. Mm-hmm. Snapped a photo. All young, had mini blinds behind me. It was a terrible photo. Now that I've done photography, it was a terrible photo. Yeah, it was horrible. So I took that headshot with me. I took it down there, And apparently they say Mike Judge looks through all the stuff because he likes to get real involved. And so pulled my headshot. They called me from the casting office, and they're like, hey, Mike wants you to come in and do an audition. I was like, all right, cool. So I go into the audition, and I'm sitting there, and I'm looking around like, wow, everybody's dressed up. I have on Dickies shorts and a white t-shirt that I just pulled out the baggie.
Oh,
so I was like, I had the white crease down, the crease down my white shirt, and I was like, what is that, a folio you have your photo in? I brought mine in my hand. So I was like, man, this is like, there's no way this is gonna happen. But I was like, it's a cool experience to have.
Yeah.
So I go in and I do the audition, and it was just like a one single line. And I did the audition, and I didn't realize that Mike Judge was sitting there with the casting directors. And they started kind of talking to me or whatever, and I was just joking around with them. They were like, have you ever done any acting? And I was like, nope. I was like, well, I don't know, man. That's kind of a lie. I have kind of acted, but not really. They're like, what do you mean? I was like, well, in pre-K, I was the apple for the Very Hungry Caterpillar. And they were like, what? Like, what? Why bring that up of all things? Like, just say no at that point. And I was like, I wore my little bitty 80s shorts, and I wore my tube socks, and I held up my cardboard apple and I walked on stage like, on Monday he ate through one apple, but he was still hungry. I was like, I walked off stage. So I did that and, kind of goofed around or whatever. And they're like, all right, well, thanks for coming in. I was like, hey, I appreciate y'all. Let me do this. So I leave. And then I hear all these people getting, they're calling them to be extras in the movie and everything. I'm like, dang, that's pretty cool. So they call me and they're like, hey, bad news. You didn't get the part. I was like, all right, that's cool. I was like, well, I appreciate your, I didn't know the ins and outs of this stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, thanks for telling me. I didn't know that they don't tell you that stuff. But they're like, well, you didn't get that part, but Mike wants you somewhere in this movie. So we're going to send you some additional roles to read for, and we're just going to figure out where we can put you.
Wow.
And I was like,
that's nice.
I was like, I better go pick out my Bentley right now. Like, I'm about to be a star. So I ended up reading for different roles and stuff, and I ended up getting for the prosecutor role. And that's where I am in Idiocracy. And
you're in Idiocracy?
Yeah, that was the movie that eventually ended up getting titled Idiocracy.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah, and
so like, where are you in the mark? Like, 50 minutes?
Man, I want to say it's like 18 minutes or something like that. Okay, it's in the court scene. It's pretty early on in the movie. I send Luke Wilson to prison. So
do you remember your line?
So the lines were, let me see. I say, number one, Your Honor, just look at him. And then the jury's like, fight. And I go, and B, he doesn't even have his tattoo or something like that. And they're like, oh. And then Dak Shepard comes in and he says the line, and we kind of play off of that. It was crazy because like the lines were longer than what actually airs. They cut everything like that. I'm like, dude, like they made such a big deal because I kept missing one line. It didn't even make the movie. And I was like,
oh, what? Okay, so you're not in there at all?
No, I'm in there. The line that they kept getting mad that I missed was not in the movie. And I'm like, then I started thinking, I'm like, did they cut it because I kept forgetting to say it? Like, oh man, I just ruined that. But it was a fun experience. And so while I'm on set, Mike Judge actually told me, he's like, are you having fun? I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. He's like, oh, cool. All right, well, you should keep doing it. And I was like, all right, man, you did Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill. You kind of know what you're talking about. So I kept trying to do the acting thing for quite some time. Unfortunately, I kept getting a lot of auditions for, hey, why don't you be the gang member or the drug dealer? And I'm like,
really?
With this face? And so I get it. Like, I look like a ghetto person. That's cool.
Were you wearing your chains, though? Was it chains?
Most movies I have my chains. Like most movies and shows that I've done, I wear my chains and my rings.
There you go.
They're in there somehow. I think Idiocracy was the only one that I did not have them.
Okay.
I've actually got a pay bump on a few shows because I looked more authentic with my own jewelry. So then they gave me some weird stipend for it.
Damn.
I was like, oh sweet, I should probably go buy another chain with this money. But yeah, no. So I did acting first, and then, like I said, nothing was coming up. Like I wanted more of the comedy roles and stuff like that, and they were like, no, you look like a gang member. Like, gang members aren't funny. But, so then I started to do improv. I did improv for a few years, and that's all cool. As long as you click with your troop members, you know, it's all good like that. But then I went through a divorce. And I was like, well, this is embarrassing. And I was like, hey, now's a good time to try stand-up comedy. I can't really be hurt from here. So
yeah.
So I tried stand-up at that point, and that's actually how I announced my divorce, too. Yeah. Got on stage, and I started telling all these divorce jokes, and people were like, what? Like, I was like, yeah, oh yeah, by the way, I'm getting divorced. Thanks for coming out, Dad. But yeah, so I did the acting and then the comedy afterwards. And acting's cool and all because it pays better. But I like comedy because of the fact that it's my words,
yes,
how I want to say them. You know, I have more control over it versus when I'm acting, I have to say somebody else's words. Unless they want improv, then that's cool too. But, But yeah, I mean, acting's cool and everything.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's why I love comedians. Like I told you, I listen to mostly comedy podcasts because they already built to build a business centered around just being you, your personality, and like then like getting famous off that. Then like any roles that you are picked to do is still very much because of your personality. You know? I don't know.
Well, it's funny too because like when I do comedy, I kind of take it on a different persona. I'm just kind of like,
oh yeah.
I'm just kind of like real still and don't, you know. And I actually said a joke that some people didn't quite understand. I misjudged the intelligence of my audience with the joke.
Where was this? In Austin?
Yeah, it was in Austin.
Austin, you're stupid.
And so I said a trigger word.
What was it?
So my joke was 1 year for Halloween, I wanted to dress up as a bonfire. So I bundled and tied a bunch of sticks around me with a piece of string. But I got beat up for looking like a faggot. Now, in the dictionary, faggot is a bundle of sticks tied together with a piece of string. I didn't realize that I'm one of the only people that has that knowledge. Now everybody who's watching this has that knowledge. So I say that joke. 3 people in the audience get it. They're laughing hysterically. They think it's so funny. They're like, oh my God, this guy, he's like, he just twisted that word.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. So I get off stage and some guys are like, hey, we don't appreciate that gay joke you told. I was like, what gay joke? And they're like, we appreciate you. I was like, all right, hold on. I was like, first of all, coming at me wrong. I was like, you could just said you disagreed with it. I couldn't explain it to you. And then they were like, well, I was like, nah. I go, no. I was like, it's all good. I was like, come on, let's go through the back right here. We'll see, we'll get it done. Gotta do what we gotta do. It is what it is. And they're like, whoa. They're like, what happened to the shot? I was like, oh no, that was on stage, Sonny. Y'all done messed up with O2 East Austin, Sonny. Now, like, it's a whole different ball game. But so I learned, like, okay, now I gotta educate people with words before going into them. But I only say that joke really around like Halloween time. Does it make sense? Yeah. Not gonna be like, oh, it's Valentine's Day show. Let me tell a Halloween joke. But I always try to educate people with the word first before. But yeah, like it's funny though, because it's like they expected the, slow talking, stay still guy, and I'm like,
Do you have a personal name for that character?
I don't. So I did improv for several years, and during doing improv, you got to create that character, be that character, stay that character for that entire scene. So my stand-up is pretty much just, this is stand-up comic Sonny. Yeah. Like, this is the way I'm going to do the jokes and stuff like that. I've actually did it to the point where I did an open mic at Cap City one time. I did all my jokes. Some lady from the audience came and found me, and she said, hey, she goes, I just want you to know if you ever need to talk. And she handed me her business card. She was a psychiatrist. I was like, whoa. All right.
I just heard your screams for help on stage.
Yeah. And so, like, she gives me the weirdest, bizarre hug. She's like, it's okay. It's okay. And then her husband's just, like, rubbing my shoulder. I'm like, I don't know where this is going right now, but I was like, y'all making me feel uncomfortable.
They're a Tinder couple.
Yeah. I was like, man, did I didn't drop my keys anywhere, did I? Put them in a bowl on accident?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I think now would be a good time to introduce my guest, a character, famous hitman, the East Austin Strangler.
You know what's no, I'm not gonna say it.
No, say it. Say it. Okay.
There's way too many dead bodies that are found in the river by where I grew up. And they'd be like, hold on, wait. I mean, he was 7 at the time, but he could probably overpower somebody.
Oh, and Strangler.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But actor, comedian, what else do you do?
I do photography.
Photographer. Duh.
We're competition, though. You know, it's kind of weird.
I got more followers than you.
Dang it. Oh. I need to start hitting them Hispanic markets. No, it's funny. Speaking of Hispanic markets, I had a comedian one time ask me to do a Mexican show. Mm-hmm. She's like, I want it to be for Mexicans, about Mexicans. Is
that like FUMU? Like FUBU?
Yeah. So yeah. For us Mexicans. Yeah. So, but I told her, I was like, I respect that you're doing that. I just don't want to be that person. I don't want to have people think that I'm targeting a certain audience.
Yeah,
like, I don't ever want to exclude anybody.
Right.
Now, granted, I do have jokes that work for different crowds.
Yeah.
You know, if I have an all-black crowd, they're going to get a certain set of jokes. If I have some Mexicans in the crowd, they'll get a certain set. If I have all white people, they're going to get a different set.
Have you ever had Asian that you had to work around? No.
I had Houston. In Houston.
Oh, yeah.
Houston.
Which one? Because I saw Joe Coy in Houston, so I wondered.
I can't remember what venue it was, but there was like half the audience was Asian. And I was like, okay.
So, those equations.
Yeah, I was like, let's talk about some math up in here. No, but so they were. It was cool though because they were able to understand the jokes and get the jokes that I would normally do for a black group.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, all right, cool. I was like, all right.
You got soul.
Yeah, I know. I was like, all right. Should have expected y'all in Houston. Then I cut a mixtape, chopped and screwed it. You know, that's what it is. What you're doing, Houston. No, but it was kind of odd because I was like, ooh, I didn't plan for that group. Like, but I was able to, and actually I was able to make some of my white people jokes. so messed up. My jokes for a Caucasian audience, a Caucasians. I don't know how they would call it. But so yeah, I mean, I do have certain jokes for different groups and stuff like that. So. But it tripped me out that I got like the lady who asked me to do the show, like she gave me so much backlash for refusing to do an all Mexican show for Mexicans.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's not what I'm trying to do. Like, if you do a show there and all Mexicans show up, cool, I'll do the show, but don't make it like you're excluding anybody.
Right.
Like that's dumb.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm not gonna do it. And then she approached me at an open mic and tried to get crazy, and I was like, I won't hit a girl, but your dude is about to get the business right now. I was like, you busting your head. But so he calmed down. She's cool now, but it was
I didn't know. Is there a lot of drama in the comedy world, or is there competition? Like, do you know a lot of local stand-up?
So I do, yeah. A lot of it is actually pretty welcoming once you can make an impact.
And they ease you in.
Yeah.
Take the beatings.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of so one thing when I first started, of course I looked like this. So nobody's like, oh, let's go approach that guy. So I'm just kind of there waiting. And so then I do my jokes, and a lot of times people come like, hey man, hey, great set thing. I'm like, oh, thanks. It's always great. And I'm always the type of person that I prefer, if I can, to stay the entire set, the entire show, to see everybody perform.
Yeah.
To me, that's great. But when I first went into comedy, so it's kind of like everybody's kind of like, I don't know who that guy is.
Mm-hmm.
So once you start hitting like the open mics and stuff, and people see you more often,
yeah.
then they kind of warm up to you, and they know your jokes, they know your material, they know what kind of person you are on stage and stuff. And so they're real welcoming after that. So once you finally, break the ice on that, it's real welcoming.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Where do you perform at?
Mostly my bathroom mirror. The audience is terrible. No, so I used to do open mics a lot. I don't really do open mics too much anymore. So basically anybody that says, "Hey, Sonny, you want to be on my show?" and I'm like, "Let's do it." You know, that way I can. I always like to do shows different places to get to different audience, and also I don't have to write a whole lot of material.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you ain't seen me before. Let me tell you these old jokes. No, but
wait, are you from the South Side?
Yeah. We had the all Mexican show. No, but yeah. So, you know, I'll perform for anybody, anywhere. Let me see. I performed at Cap City a few times. I performed at the convention center for a college step show / comedy show. I want to say there was about 3,000 people.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it was nuts, and the stage was way too big for my type of comedy because I just stand still in one spot. And I was like, it was like 80 feet left of stage. But they were real receptive to my jokes.
Good.
They appreciated it. It was a lot of like professional people, like doctors and lawyers and stuff.
Really?
And I was like, oh crap, that's my audience? Man, okay, that'll work. And that was a real nice show. I've even done a show on a trailer bed in the back of a smoke shop for some 420 show, which was odd because I was like, am I the only sober one here? Like, I don't smoke, so I'm confused. And normally my jokes are real slow, but for that crowd, I had to speed it up.
Yeah.
And it was funny when I got off stage. People were like, "I thought you were gonna be a rapper, dude." And I was like, "Wow, I don't know if that's racist or what that is right there." But so I didn't rap, but I mean, I've done shows like that. Like I said, back in the trailer, I've done shows for 4 or 5 people. Done shows for like almost 3,000 people. So it ranges. And the thing about it is, like, you always give your best performance no matter how many people are in the audience. Yeah. Because if there's 4 people in the audience, you don't want them to make it feel like they wasted their time. So you still want to perform as if the crowd is full.
Right.
I bombed once. Everybody says they bombed. I bombed that I can count one time. I did a show it was a rap comedy show. Those don't work a lot. Man, it was probably about 5.5 years ago.
Okay.
The jokes I was telling, the audience wasn't understanding. Now, granted, it was a lot of underage kids, and that's when I was like, okay.
Underage kids? Where were you?
It was somewhere downtown, but everybody in the audience had X's on their hands. The only people laughing were the DJ, the bouncer, and the bartenders. And I'm just doing my set, like, I'm doing my jokes, and the way I do my jokes is like, I don't care if you don't laugh at this joke. I'm still gonna say it, finish it, and go on to the next joke. And so I'm doing the jokes, and the crowd like starts to get out into the street, and the promoter tries to jump up and stop the show, but the DJ was a friend of mine from high school, so he kind of stopped him like, "You're gonna let him finish." He's like, "I like this. Those 4 people like it. He's gonna finish." So I finished out my set, but I was like, "Wow, this is really awkward." Like, the people like literally left out of the venue, and I was like, "Okay, cool." No, and I just turned my attention to the bartenders who were back there. But it was a learning experience. Like, at the time, I was like, I was doing open mics. I was doing, random shows here and there. And I had got real cocky to where I was like, oh, everybody thinks I'm hilarious. But I was like, okay, not everybody understands my jokes. So, it made me take a step back and look back like, okay.
It was a humbling experience.
Yeah.
What kind of fucking unrelatable jokes were you telling these kids? Like,
I told jokes about my divorce. So if you have an X on your hand, you probably ain't never been married before. That was dumb.
I talked about VHS tapes.
I was like, don't you hate when you gotta rewind your cassette tapes? I was reading in the paper the other day. No, but yeah, it was a bunch of jokes like that, like older people problems. Kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah. Then I was using words of terminology they didn't quite quickly pick up or understand, and I was like, okay, all right. But I did tell them bye as they walked out. I was like, we'll see y'all later.
Aww.
And the headliner didn't even go on. He was like a rapper. He didn't even go on because he had no audience to perform to.
Oh shit.
And I was like, hey, that's my bad, dude. And he tried to have some words and was like, calm down there.
Oh wow.
You about to get East Side Sonny real quick. But it was fun still. I thought it was hilarious that happened, but it was, like I said, a humbling experience.
Yeah.
And it taught me to, like, okay, those jokes don't work for everyone. That's where I kind of start to decide, okay, I gotta have jokes for this crowd, for this crowd, for that crowd, and see what, every now and then I blend them to see if it works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I just go on to the next joke and they think that's hilarious. They're like, he doesn't even care that we didn't laugh. I'm like, I don't. Let's go to the next joke.
How long are your sets usually?
Normally I do about 10-minute sets. I have done like 15 and 20-minute sets. I was supposed to do a show in San Antonio in October where they wanted me to do a 30-minute set. Ooh. But the venue didn't sell enough tickets because of bad promotion and stuff, and so they ended up canceling the show. And so I was like, all right, well, there was my shot at a 30-minute set, like, see what that was like. But yeah, so I think the most I've ever done was about a 20-minute set.
Do you get paid each time? Well, not the open mics, obviously, but...
So yeah, so the open mics, you don't get paid. Generally, they'll kick you a few bucks for gas and stuff like that. They're not making a whole lot of money on the show either, that's understandable, Now the other shows where like they have like an actual headliner, like an out-of-state comedian or whatever like that, generally they'll pay. I did a show with Chris Rock's little brother, Tony Rock.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He kicked us off the show first, and then they asked us back, and so I ended up doing the show. I think it's because of an Instagram post that I posted.
Sonny.
So
wait, have I said your name yet? Oh my god. Okay, so this comedian Sonny Castillo. All right. Anyway, keep going.
just have my name flash across the bottom. Cool.
In bubble letters or tag. We could do a tag.
Do a tag. Look,
the airbrush.
Like I'm spraying my name right now. So on Instagram, we have been promoting the show. Like, oh man, boom, come see us, tagging Tony Rock, tagging him, all the time. Then, as the show gets closer, one of my promo photos that I use is me sitting on the toilet reading a magazine where I'm on the cover wearing a t-shirt with my face on it. So it's like kind of a triple. You see me all. So that's one of my promo photos that I use. And creative. So yeah, so I thought so. And so I posted that, and I put the flyer next to it, and I posted that on Instagram. Well, Tony Rock sees it finally. We've been tagging him for months in this show. He sees it, calls his management. Management calls the promoter. Promoter calls me, tells me if I can remove the photo. And I'm like, that's cool, man. I'll remove it. Kind of sucked, too, because I got two of the old Saturday Night Live alum to like my photo.
What?
And I was like, oh, that's sweet. Like, I got some, these folks like my photo.
Which ones? Who?
The one that I remember was Finesse Mitchell, because I went and followed him later.
Okay.
I can't remember the other one's name. It was one of those members that didn't last, all too long. But but it was cool to have. Oh, cool, they like my photo, sweet. And so Tony Rock tagged his manager in the photo, and it was like, "You see this?" exclamation point. And I was like, "Oh, he likes it." And no, that's not what he liked. So the promoter calls, he was like, "Hey man, you got to remove that photo." I was like, "All right, that's cool, man." So I took the photo down. The next day, the promoter calls, he's like, "Hey man, Tony doesn't want you on the show anymore." Aww. And I was like, all right, he goes, I think it might have been the photo. I was like, all right, man, this is what it is. So I went about my way, and then the night of the show, then they ended up calling me saying, hey, man, they want you back on the show. And I was like, so I did the show. Some attention whore, I'm gonna do it. So I did the show. But yeah, I mean, so it was like I said, Tony Rock is a traveling comedian. He does comedy everywhere and stuff like that. So I did the show, get paid for it. It is what it is. What I like is the fact that I was able to perform for his audience. The audience that was there to see him. Yeah. They now got to see me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way to think about it. But yeah, so it ranges depending on who I'm performing for as far as what the pay is and stuff like that.
Yeah. What's the most awkward? I mean, you said you bombed, but just you had trouble formulating your jokes around because you just weren't sure of the audience.
So my jokes come in my head, and I think about the joke for months at a time before I get the perfect wording out, and then I go try the joke. So I told the joke about the Halloween costume that did not go over very well with some of the audience. So I was like, well, how do I educate the people about what that word actually means? So I have a joke where I say, in 6th grade, I got in trouble for calling another little boy a faggot. So the teacher made me look up the definition. Turns out it means a bundle of 6 tied together piece of string. And then I say I never would have known that had he not been acting like a stupid little bundle of 6 tied together piece of string that stole my pencil and would give it back. And I kind of ramble on with it.
Yeah.
So I finally like, all right, sweet, I got it. And Cap City wanted me to do one of their homegrown shows where they have people from Austin. So I was like, sweet, I'll do the show. I was like, all right, cool. Finally got this joke down. I was like, it educates people on the word, as far as the dictionary.
Brings awareness.
Correct, yeah. And so I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna do this show. And then I get to work that day, and one of my coworkers, she used to be a male. Now she's a female.
Okay.
So she came in happy, and I was like, oh, what's all the happiness? What you all crazy about? And she was like, I finally get to marry my wife. And I was like, what do you mean? And she goes, well, they passed gay marriage is now legal. And I was like, because I just formulated this joke, and I'm like, I don't know how well it's gonna work. Now everybody's celebrating gay marriage, and I'm like, but me being me, I was like, I'm still gonna do it. I still gotta see if it works, and it worked with half the audience.
You're like, boo, yeah, boo.
One of the people actually came up to me, and they're like, hey, that joke was a good joke, but because of the whole gay marriage, I didn't laugh, and they're like, but it was a really sophisticated joke. And I was like, well, thanks. That's what I was going for. I'm not trying to bash anybody or whatever. It's like, but yeah, that was kind of an awkward moment. I was like, even up until they called my name, I was like, I don't know how it's gonna work. It was really, and the worst part was the host, or not the host, but one of the comics before me had mentioned that gay marriage had just passed, and I was like, you had to remind them? Like, I just formulated my joke.
There's people jumping around with flags outside.
Yeah. And I was like,
you can see them in the windows.
Yeah, I was like, man, y'all might have to call me up by a different name at this point. But I mean, that's the way I do my jokes. Like, I'll think of it for the longest time, and when I finally get it, then I'll drop it on the next show that I'm at. And I was like, well, I don't know if it was the right day to do it, but I did it. And like I said, they appreciated it. A person came up to me and told me, they're like, hey, if it wasn't today, I would have laughed. I was like, oh, thanks.
Yeah. Too soon.
Exactly. Yeah, I was like, wow, like, this fool didn't even wait 8 hours for that. Like,
we just got the Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the tweet.
They're like, you know how many proposals happened tonight? And they're like, yeah.
Right when they stamped it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, that was probably the most awkward. Like, you make a decision as an artist that this is what I'm gonna go with. This is what I'm gonna go with.
Yeah.
Made for the Mexican suit, just so they're aware. Like, no hard feelings. No.
So how long have you been doing comedy then?
I've been doing comedy 7 years. About 7 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe 7.5.
What inspired you to?
My divorce.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, my ex-wife cheated on me, and I was like,
done crying. Time to laugh.
Yeah, I was kind of like, well, this is awkward. Like, so you mean to tell me another person was inserting themselves into you? Okay. I was like, well, that's embarrassing. And then I was like, well, I always wanted to do stand-up comedy, just to try it out. Mm-hmm. But I was too like, man, I don't want to get I don't want to bomb on stage, and that's the most humiliating thing you can think of. That to me, that was the most humiliating thing that could happen. But I was like, oh, another guy was banging my wife. Oh, that's more humiliating. So I was like, let me try this stand-up thing that I've been putting off. And so I started doing the stand-up stuff and doing it that way. And and I still do the jokes to this day because I think they're funny. But so does the audience. So I'm not just like, oh, I think it's funny. Screw y'all guys. You're not being
sued for defamation?
No, well, that's the thing too, because my ex-wife had told me, she goes, well, she goes, I don't want you doing any of the ain't say anything about our divorce in your stand-up. And I was like, hey, as long as we do everything as adults, keep it civil, you ain't got nothing to worry about. I won't say anything. Mm-hmm. So I've done jokes about my divorce because it didn't stay civil. She tried to call the cops on me when I went for my stuff, and I was like, all right, cool. I was like, all right, well, that deal's gone. So then that was a big part of me coming in stage, was talking about my divorce and stuff. Now, I've had people come up to me and they're like, hey, man, I'm going through a divorce right now. What you said, really helps out. And I was like, cool. And I was like,
so inspiring.
I do what I can. No, but yeah, I mean that was a big push into doing stand-up comedy. I had always wanted to do stand-up because I had seen stand-up comedy growing up. Back when Comedy Central actually showed stand-up comedy like 24 hours a day, I would stay glued to that channel, watch the HBO specials, stuff like that.
Who's your favorite?
My favorite comedian is probably, it's a toss-up between Mitch Hedberg and Stephen Wright. And that's
I don't know either.
Mitch Hedberg. You don't know Mitch Hedberg? Edit this so that you're like, oh, good, Mitch Hedberg.
Wait, no.
So Mitch Hedberg, he does a lot of one-liners.
Okay.
It's kind of a little real monotone. That's kind of what I do as well. Stephen Wright, I know you know because he was the guy on the couch from Half Baked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
as soon as I say that, people are like,
I don't know names, but if you describe them, and I've seen them.
And like Mitch Hedberg, his my favorite joke of his was he says, "I used to do drugs, I still do, but I used to too." And it's like that's good. I like this. We're playing on words and stuff like that. So, but I like the way he delivered his jokes and stuff like that. It's kind of where I kind of found my style eventually to do more of the one-liner style like that too. And then Stephen Wright, he's real monotone. His jokes are just like out there. You're like, what is he talking about? Like he has a joke where he says, I drew Santa Claus and Jesus on a seesaw. I put Jesus on the bottom even though he weighs less because he's Jesus. And it's like, what? Like
okay,
you're like what? Like it's so bizarre.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
can see that.
And so like a lot of people don't get his comedy and stuff like that, but I'm like, man, I don't care. I think that dude's hilarious.
I'm too stupid to like catch on that. That's like hipster comedy.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. So my new demographic is hipsters. I wish this was an IPA I was drinking right now.
Oh man.
No, but yeah, those are my two favorite. And it's funny because I actually like Sinbad a lot too.
He was good and he's clean.
Yeah. And I try to keep my comedy a little bit clean.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, oh, like, hey, I appreciate that you kept your comedy clean. I was like, yeah, I try,
God bless you.
I was like, unless you understand my jokes, then you're like, it's not right at all. It's like, but I'm like, oh, you can't censor me, all right. But yeah, like I like Sinbad a lot. And I actually got to see him do about 3 hours of comedy one night.
Whoa!
He did. So he did an hour and a half show at South by Southwest, and I popped up and I was like, cool, I'm gonna check it out. Then he did another show, and I was like, well, I might as well stick around and see it again. Entirely new material, and he said a lot of stuff about Austin and the surrounding areas. And I was like, man, this dude made it real personal the second time around, and I was like, man, I was like blown away.
Damn.
Yeah.
What year was this? Would you say? Like, was this around his prime or?
No. This was just a few years ago. So yeah.
He still did stand up.
Yeah, he still did. He did it over at Esther's Follies.
Oh, okay.
I saw him. Yeah.
Okay.
But I saw him. I was like, wow. It was the year before I started doing my stand up.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, is that all right,
that's very inspiring.
It was. Yeah. Thanks, Sinbad. You'll probably never see this, but thanks anyway. I did get a retweet from him one time. He put, ha at Sonny from O2. That's my Twitter handle. And I was like, screenshot.
That's cool. I never had a brush with fame like that. Or like online or anything.
Not online? No? Even online? No?
No.
I've got like a few comedians to like be like, at Sonny from O2.
Really?
I'm like, book me. Well, like, cause who was it? I can't think of his name. I don't know, but totally mind blown right now. But so I was about to watch his stand-up special, and I tweeted to him, and I said, I just did my 10-minute set in my living room before pressing play on my DVR to watch his stand-up special. I go, so technically I opened for him, and he was all like, ha, and I was like, oh, sweet, Aww. He saw it. And I was like, now if only The Rock would return my tweets, we'd be friends. I used to tweet The Rock like every day.
Really?
Just to do it.
Like what?
Just random stuff like, hey dude, I'm about to go get Taco Bell. Need anything? At The Rock. It's like dumb stuff. And it's funny though because like I would do stand up I started putting on my own comedy shows, and I would invite celebrities, even though I knew they were going to show up. Like, I'd be like, hey.
Dude, that's what I was going to do with this podcast.
That's
like,
what you should do.
We were going to put, like, a white piece of paper with, like, their name.
Well, like, and
Beyonce was supposed to be here today.
and that's even what I do. Like, I'll have my, I have my will call list. People that bought tickets online or whatever through PayPal. And then I'll have my celebrity list, and I'll have random celebrities, like, I think one time I put to JJ Watt, and I was like, hey man, if you're in Austin, come stop by the show, you plus one. And I did that to Terry Crews, because he was in Idiocracy. I did it to Dax Shepard, he was in Idiocracy. Yeah. I did to Mike Judge, because he directed Idiocracy. Well, Mike Judge was like, sorry man, I can't make it. And I was like, what? And then he added me on Facebook. And I was like,
cool.
Oh, that's sweet.
Aww.
I was like, reunited. One day.
Feels so good.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so, I'm just waiting for him to call me about Idiocracy 2, just be like, hey, what's up, Sonny? We need your prosecutor to reprise the role.
Isn't it crazy how, like, the world now is Idiocracy?
Yeah.
It's like you're part of a prophecy.
Yeah, I tripped out because, like, on set, everybody had Crocs. Everybody had Crocs. Well, except me, because I was a lawyer.
That's a lot of Croc.
Yeah, I know, and I was like, these shoes are... Sorry, let's take time for that pun. No, so I saw everybody with Crocs, and I was like, these are stupid. I'm like, that's good though. Like, the world looks like it would wear these in the future. And then, like, after we shot, Crocs became popular. And I was like, whoa. I got mad at first. I was like, hold on, they stole something from set, and I didn't steal anything. Like, I should have stole something. And no, it just turns out Crocs became popular afterwards. And like, I'm guilty. I bought my son Crocs.
Are you serious?
Yeah. They're little sharks and the eyes light up. And I was like,
okay.
Daddy made a movie where a lot of people wore these. But no, it's crazy. And then, in the movie, for the 4 people that haven't seen it in the world, so in the movie, Terry Crews is the president. He's an ex-porn star and wrestler. Donald Trump, like, banged a porn star and was in a few wrestling things. I'm like, holy crap, this is so crazy. But, yeah.
It just shows how stupid people are, too. Oh, God.
But, yeah.
I have to pee. I was so stupid and, like, late with getting a smartphone that I didn't know that smartphone was just, like, the general term for, the internet phones. So, like, I had like a slider phone for the longest time, those like cheap ass Nokia ones.
Oh yeah.
And I actually didn't get a smartphone until my most recent job 2.5 years ago. Yeah, because I don't know, I didn't feel the need to stay connected that often. But I'm like, shit, if I'm gonna be working here, then I have to get one.
Yeah. Like, I realized too, like if I'm trying to be in the entertainment industry, I have to stay connected. I have to, like, I have my Facebook profile, like, private. That's stupid. Like, how are people supposed to find me?
I know. They're
like,
about your stalkers.
It says actor, but I can't see any proof. Like, it's just like...
Yeah.
So I had to do that, and it's bad. But, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't even start a Facebook until I moved here from up north. So I got it in, like, 2011. Wow. Just because... Like, with photography and stuff, how else am I supposed to meet people, right?
Yeah, that's the thing, too. I'm all like...
oh, here's my flyer.
Yeah, exactly.
Local photographer.
Turn a little back. There's a few examples of my work. All right. Yeah, no, because that's the thing, too. A lot of people are like, oh, well, let me see examples of your work. And I'm like, no, just trust me. No. Like, it's funny, though, because... Like, and it's funny, too, because I've had people that want, they post on Facebook all the time, like, hey, tag a local comedian. Mm-hmm. And they tag me, and I'm like, I'm not local. I've done shows in Del Valle, dude. No, but, like, so they'll tag me and stuff. And they're like, hey, send me a link to your work. So I'll send them a link, and they're like, I don't think you're funny. I'm like, that's cool. Like, you could have told me that in a message, not on your post, but that's cool, dude. Aww. So then I just go spam my stuff on all their posts. And I'm like, they think I'm funny. They liked it before you deleted it.
And I'm slowly poisoning them.
Yeah, I do that all the time. Like, people will tag me and stuff, and that I have nothing to do with. And I'll go post my website, www.sonnyfromthe02.com. So I'll post that on their post, and they'll be like, bro, this isn't to get attention, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, your post was trying to get attention. It has nothing to do with me, so it is what it is. I just had that conversation with somebody the other day, and they're like, oh, I can respect that, and they removed my tag. I was like, that's cool. But I was like, anytime people would tag me on something that has nothing to do with me, my website goes there or my YouTube video goes there.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
nice.
You want to tag me in it?
Yeah.
It's going to be for a purpose now.
Gotta get him. Got him.
Mm-hmm.
So where can... Oh, I think... Have we mentioned?
I've been mentioning all through this whole thing.
When is your next open mic?
My next open mic? No.
So
my next show, hopefully, fingers crossed, is still going down. Will be in Galveston, Texas next Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Hoping that still goes through. I always get weird about out-of-town shows because I'm like, like, you could have easily got someone else from closer, so I don't make sure that I'm still there. But the guy that's promoting it, he's put me on a few shows and stuff like that, so he's real good about it. I just like to always confirm. I'll confirm like up until the minute that I perform that I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah, that's why I was like all paranoid with you coming.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was too.
Are you coming?
I was too, because I was like, I messaged you the first time like, hey, can we switch the day, the time? And then I was like, for some reason my messenger didn't notify me that you hit me back.
Yeah.
And so I was like, the next day I'm all like, oh man, I insulted her. Now she's all like, no, I'm not going to change because of you. Like, now I was like, oh, God, like, now this is not going to happen. Oh, man.
Typical male.
But yeah, like, I was like, and then I saw, like, oh, she responded yesterday. Now I look like a jerk because I didn't respond back. But, yeah, no, like, I'm always, like, paranoid, like, up until the time of the show, like, is it going to happen? Because comedy shows can get canceled so quickly. Like the one I had in San Antonio, it got canceled. And me and the headliner, we had been, her name was Tammy Pescatelli. I'm going to say her name.
Bleep.
Yeah. But, no, she's a real nice woman.
Okay.
And so she was like, I posted on Instagram. I followed her on Instagram, Twitter. I posted it. And she was reposting my stuff. And I was like, oh, sweet. A named comic I did not offend. So, you know, I'm still looks like I'm still on the show. And then it came down to like a few days before the show, and then it got canceled. And me and her were in contact, making sure everything was still squared away. And she wanted to make sure that I didn't have any hard feelings towards her. Aww. And so I was like, yeah, it's cool. You know, it is what it is. And so, yeah, like anytime I have a show, I'm all like, yeah, this show, weak. Like, you know, put an asterisk right there, like, you know, pending audience attendance or something like that. Because one time I was booked for a show, and it was here in Austin. I want to say the show was supposed to start like at 8, but the newsman said, "Hey, it's gonna be horrible weather. Don't leave your house." Meanwhile, I'm at the venue, like, "Where's everybody?" You know. So I'm like waiting for everybody. Nobody shows up. Like throughout the night, they kept pushing it off. Like, "Oh, we'll start at 9. Oh, we'll start at 10. Oh, we'll start at 11." I'm like, "Okay, if you're saying we'll start at 11, we're not doing this." From 8 to about 11:30, only 3 people had actually entered the venue at any given time, like total. So it was canceled, but you know, of course, 3.5 hours after the show started. So I'm always weary about shows up until the show is there. So it's nothing against any promoter or any venue like that. It's just that's the way I am.
Yeah, that's how I am about like photo shoots too.
Oh, photo shoots are the worst. Yeah, sometimes you're like, all right, sweet. I logged all my gear. Where are you? And I'm like, okay, she hasn't responded. That's cool.
Oh.
Are you on your way? Oh, her phone probably died. And then like the next day I'll see on Instagram, they're like, oh, it's so fun out here in Houston. I'm like, I was in Austin. What do you mean?
Oh.
What do you mean you were in Houston?
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, so that's the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's like TV and movies too, because you could do a scene and then get cut.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, when I did Idiocracy, there was a guy who played a bailiff, and the entire time he's like yelling into his microphone, doing all his stuff and everything like that. His scene got cut. His name still showed up in the credits, which is weird, but his scene got cut. And I felt bad because I was like, the dude lost his voice. Like the second day we were on set, he could not speak.
Damn.
He was like, dude, I can't speak. I was like, whoa, crazy. But he was there for, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, it sucks. Like he didn't even show up. And so anytime like I'm doing a show or whatever, I'll tell people like, hey, I just filmed for this. Fingers crossed. Yeah, little emoji guy. Fortunately, nothing has been cut that I've been in, so that's great. But I mean, there are things that can get cut, like lines can get cut, singing can cut, anything like that. So yeah, just comedy, photography, acting, everything. I'm always like, not until I see the final product, the final outcome, will I believe that it actually happened.
Right.
Yeah. Just like podcasts. No.
Now, did you take acting classes?
So I did not. When I did Idiocracy, I did not do it. And after I did Idiocracy, I decided to go and start trying to take some acting classes. Mm-hmm. And I mainly took improv classes, just to try to think on your feet type thing. But I did take a few acting classes, and it didn't really all work out that well for me.
Why?
Well, because they were like, we want you to be this dramatic role, and you're gonna be real somber because your wife just left you. Mm-hmm. So feel with your heart, not with your emotion. I'm like, what? I don't understand what that means. And I'd go into the scene, I'd be like, honey, I think it's time we're done. They're like, no, you're not saying that. I was like, okay. They're like, say like you mean it. I go, okay, honey, we're done. And they're like, no, that's too fast. I'm like, they're like, no, it's too slow. I'm like, I don't get it. Can I just do comedy stuff? Where's the comedy acting classes? Like, screw this stuff. I'm like, I'm not cut out for drama. But so I tried acting classes, and like I said, it was a bunch of like failure for me. They're like, really? You're never gonna be a leading man. I'm like, I know that. I have a bald spot in the back of my head. I'm not gonna be a leading man material. I'm like funny sidekick type. Like that's what I want to be.
Or you could be Pitbull's stunt double.
Exactly. Oh my god. So, like, you know how on Facebook and stuff they have that, what celebrity do you look like? Pitbull and Paul Wall always come up for me. It's ridiculous. Like, can't get somebody else. Why doesn't Channing Tatum ever match with me? All I'm saying, he shaved his head for a film. Actually, I saw Channing Tatum in person one time.
Really?
Like, my car was an extra for one of his movies.
Your car?
My car.
Why your car?
I have a beat up 1972 Skylark.
Did it try out for the part?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they were like the call went out that they were looking for extras, and they were looking for beat up junker vehicles that drove. And I was like, I got one. And so I submitted my car, and they were like, yeah, cool. Bring it down to Lockhart, and we'll park it, and it'll be part of the scene. I was like, cool. And I was like, when is the film? And they were like, oh, 3 weeks or whatever. Well, also within that time, I had my wisdom teeth removed, so I was like, I hopped up on Vicodin. And so I parked my car, and I'm just waiting around on set because I'm not. They put me in like cowboy type gear, like I was supposed to be like Western. And the director took one look at me and like, they're like, you look too urban. And I was like, ghetto is the word you're looking for, but I'll take urban. So they didn't let me be on like an extra in the film, but I still had to wear the stupid clothes that they had me in. And so I'm just like walking around the set or whatever, and Channing Tatum is walking next, like towards me, and he did the weird thing, like didn't know which way to walk around me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then he finally like got around me, and I was like, just looked at him. He was like, hey, "What's up?" And I was like, "What's going on, man?" He was like, and like he wasn't like a real famous actor or anything at that time, but
was this before or after Magic Mike?
No, this was way before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was
so
like
he was just regular Mike.
Street,
wow. Okay.
Now, and everybody's all like, well, how do you know that was Channing Tatum? I was like, now I'm not a gay man, but you see Channing Tatum, you're going to remember Channing Tatum. Like, I was like, that dude looks like a movie star. Like, he's walking.
Chang in my Tatum.
Yeah. But I was like, believe me, when you see Channing Tatum in person, you'll be like, well, that's a Channing Tatum right there. No, but like, so it's funny because people always ask me like, well, how do you know it was him? I don't think it was him. You're not scary. I'm like, I'm not scared of you because you know me. I'm scared of Channing Tatum because he didn't know me. Like, I just like a random person for some reason wearing cowboy gear, but was too urban for their film. Like, so, but yeah, it's funny. It's just like, okay. And unfortunately, my car did not make the cut.
Oh, what? What movie was this for?
It's called Stop Loss.
Stop Loss. What kind of genre was it?
It was about like a army guy coming back to town. I can't remember.
So the whole movie was canceled everything?
No, the movie came out.
Oh, really? Oh,
I didn't see it because my dad was like, "Hey, man, your car didn't make it." And I was like, "I'm not gonna watch it." Like, I don't want, like if I'm involved with something and whatever doesn't make it, I'm like, I'm not gonna watch it. Like, just brings up too many painful memories. But also, I was hopped up on Vicodin too, so I was like, I don't even remember what the movie was about. Like, I just remember sweating in this cowboy gear, just sitting there like, y'all done with my car? Can I go? The mess up thing was when they were like, okay, we're done filming, blah, blah, saying all that stuff. Channing Tatum did his what's up to me and everything. I was like, all right, cool. They were like, all right, y'all can go. And I go and I'm like, oh, my keys are in the ignition and my door is locked. And I was in Lockhart. No, so now I'm all like, so now I'm all like, what? Call my dad to the rescue. Hey, Dad, I need you to bring spare keys. So he had to drive to Lockhart and open my car. Yeah.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, big time. I was like, oh my God, what impression did I make on Channing Tatum? So I could think about it. No, but yeah, it was kind of awkward because I was like, and like I said, I was still on Vicodin, so I was just like waiting by my car. I was like, I probably look like a creep.
Paid for it?
So they still paid me to use
my
car.
Oh, yeah. Shit.
I think they paid me like, I'll say like $125, $150 for using my car.
Nice.
Whereas extras get $75, which is crazy. So I'm like, my car got more to sit there. But yeah, I get $125 and I ain't have nothing to do that day anyway.
Yeah,
so.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like aren't there there's a few movies that have been filmed in Lockhart, right?
There's a ton of movies.
Yeah.
There was
Back to the Future? No.
No, I don't think Back to the Future was. But there was a movie with is it Jennifer Love Hewitt or Sarah Michelle Gellar? One of those three named
those
ladies.
90s girls.
Yeah.
Those
one
bitches.
Of them. And there was a movie with Ryan Phillippe, who was also there was a movie.
Are you talking about the Cruel Intentions? No.
It was not Cruel Intentions. It was a different movie, but Ryan Phillippe, it was messed up. So I go to set to be an extra there, and they look at me and they're like, "No, it's not gonna work." I'm like, "It's not gonna work about this." Actually, I think it was the same stop loss. I think Ryan Phillippe and Channing Tatum.
Oh, okay.
And that's why they put me in cowboy gear because I had a Dickie shirt on. They were like, "Ryan's gonna be wearing a Dickie shirt. He can't wear a Dickie shirt." And I'm like, "Is he wearing my Dickie shirt?" Then no, that's stupid. They were like, "We'll get something else for you." And they got me like a weird flannel and skinny jean pants and stuff. And I'm like, "This is dumb." But of course, I was on Vicodin, so I was like, "Oh, what's up? Man? Let's play dress up." But yeah, I mean, Ryan Phillippe was cool.
Yeah.
I talked to him a little bit. I was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I was like, "Nice to meet you." He's like, "Nice to meet you." I was like, "No, it's not. I know it's not." Like, but there was a person who was like mentally disabled, and they were on set, and they went up to Ryan Phillippe, and they were like, "Oh my god, you're Ryan Witherspoon." Yeah, because he was married to Reese Witherspoon at the time, and he laughed it off and said, "No." He's like, "I'm actually Ryan Phillippe." And they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry, yeah." And the person was spewing off all these facts that they found online about him, and he was a real good sport about it. Took pictures with them, talked with them a little bit, and I was like, "Dang!" I was like, Hollywood people are not all jerks. Like, look, this dude took time out of his day to make this dude's day special, and I was like, "That's cool."
Aww.
Then I found out he was cheating on Reese Witherspoon. I was like, "Oh, that dude's a jerk."
Oh shit,
like,
he was?
terrible. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
with
that.
With the lady who was in the film, like whatever film it was that we were making.
Damn, you didn't see them?
No, I didn't see it. I was like, dang, I need to start stalking trailers more often.
Like...
I know. I was like, it was back in the days of like flip phone cameras. I was like,
oh
click.
Shit.
It's grainy, but he's there. You see him. But yeah. But I was like, oh man. I was like, you done ruined my view of Ryan Phillippe.
I don't even think he's been to anything lately. Has he? I don't know.
I don't keep up with him on Twitter or nothing like that. Not like he's The Rock. No. The Rock's probably gonna be like, if I ever do a movie with The Rock, I'm like, hey man, I tweeted you like 413 times. What's going on?
Does Twitter really help? Because I don't have a Twitter. Like.
To me, it does not.
Yeah.
I'll
as far as like promoting your own work locally and.
No. I think it's because so many people like tweet every moment of their life. If you follow a lot of people, a lot of stuff's gonna get lost.
Yeah.
My Twitter is basically to repost stuff that I put on Facebook or to retweet whatever DeAndre Hopkins of the Houston Texans tweeted. Like I tweet everything he tweets. Like, oh, he tweets something. Let's tweet that back. All right, sweet. I was like, oh, he has gas. Let me go retweet that. All right, sweet. No, but yeah, I mean, I've posted stuff about shows on Twitter and stuff like that. And, there was one guy who followed me on Twitter and found out about a show through Twitter.
Oh,
he showed
wow.
up, and I was like, okay, cool.
Oh,
but that's been
him?
like the only other time. I didn't know him at the
2?
time. Yeah, he was one of the stars. No, so I didn't know him at the time. He ended up showing up to the show, and he was like, hey, man, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Nice to meet you, you know. And by the way, if you ever want a handshake, shake my hand. I'm cool. Like, some people like get weird about that.
Really?
Yeah, and it's weird.
You're not that famous now.
I know I'm not. That's why I'm like, it's so weird when people don't want to. Like, they're like,
I mean, you can kiss my ring. It's okay.
Yeah, well,
wash my feet.
Because like I've had people on Facebook that they'll message me and they'll be like, hey, I saw you at Target, but I didn't want to approach you. And I'm like, well, thanks for making it weird. Now, like, you could have approached me. Like, it's weird. I mean, and like I've heard it from other comics too, that they say that someone will see them on a show, and then they'll see them out, and then they'll message them, hey, I saw you, you know, at HEB.
Oh, yeah.
And blah, blah. And I'm like,
yeah.
They're like, how do you do with that? I'm like, I just tell them, like, come say hi next time. Like, doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I had a person take a photo of me from behind, and they're like, oh, I saw you at Walmart in the clearance section. I was like, I'm always there. And so, like,
what if it really wasn't you though?
It was. I had a customized Houston, Texas jersey that says Sonny from the O2. So I was like,
I had a tag. Hello, my name is Sonny.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, yeah, like, okay, you could have said hello, like, not be weird. Yeah.
Oh shit. Wow, I think we've been talking for quite some time. Oh my gosh.
Did we run out of film? Because we're doing this all on film. We're old school like that.
I think we have to like change the coal or something. Yeah, exactly. Oh man, but dude, you gotta come back.
I will.
Part 2.
You're like 15 minutes from me.
That's dope. But north side, that
what?
north. Well, and you're the east. Do you represent east though, all the time?
So I do, because that's where I'm from. Like, I moved from the East.
So are you like EATX? Is that a thing? No.
No. O2,
okay.
O2 ATX.
O2 ATX? What's that?
O2,
well, we don't promote gang activity on the show.
Well, I was counting. 1, 2.
Oh, okay.
So
your gang signs.
So yeah, that's the thing. Like, because a lot of people trip out about that. Austin, we represent our zip codes.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know. Some people are like, what is that? They're like, where's the Sonny from the O2 come from? I'm like, because I'm from the O2.
I thought you graduated in 02. I graduated in 02.
I was supposed to graduate in 02. I ended up graduating a year early in 01.
Oh, so you're a super senior?
Yeah, so, I know. I was like, I should have did 02. That would have made more sense. But, no, but so yeah, so a lot of people don't understand. Like, people from outside of Austin, they don't understand. They're like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, I'm from O2 East Austin. And they're like, what?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I think us transplants wouldn't know that, right?
You know, like, just want tramps first. I think us tramps. Us traveling homeless people. No, yeah.
Oh, shit. Well, thank you for coming here, and you're so much fun to talk to.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, and the liquid courage helped me a lot, so... Yeah.
Very delicious.
How was your drink?
Not too bad. Oh, this is a bungee cup. I love Halo. I just noticed that. Yeah, I just noticed. That's cool.
That's my roommate.
Can we get close up?
Get sponsored. Oh, man. But
I totally just gave him a shout out. No.
But thank you so much for watching episode number 2 of Fatal Overdose, and we got Sonny here representing O2. I'm 5'9". That sounds like a height, but I'm so not 5'9".
So, fun fact, my son on the internet, everybody refers to him as Enzo from the 5'9".
Oh, wow.
When we lived here, so he was born. He wasn't born in our apartment. We're not born.
Alright, and where can we find you? What's your
right
handles?
here at your house every day. No. So you can find me at www.sonnyfromtheoats.com. Or at your local Walmart clearance section. I'm also there as well.
Thank you so much for coming on. And you're also on Instagram, right, Sonny?
Instagram, yeah. Instagram at sunnyfromtheoats.com. Twitter at sunnyfromtheoats.com. Facebook.com/sunnyfromtheoats. Sonny from the O2. Type it in, I'm going to show up.
Nice. And if you're in Galveston next Friday, and if it doesn't get canceled.
Yeah, I'll probably be there.
Yeah, so thank you so much for being on. And until next time, I don't know who my next guest is, but...
It's just going to be really good. When you went to the bathroom, did a lot of solo stuff, and juggled and whatnot.
Magic tricks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Pitbull, for being on today's show. You guys have a good night.
You can reach us at fatalpodcastatx@gmail.com or Instagram Fatal Appeal.